In this episode, I'm going to look at that little TMK black and white TV, cassette recorder, and radio that I picked up there last week, along with that little color set. This time we're looking at the monochrome set. Let's see if it works. If not, let's make it work. Today we're going to look at this TMK. This is a TV radio cassette recorder that I picked up for a song, and it's worth about a song, but I thought it was kind of cool. Black and white TV, cassette recorder, AM/FM radio. It's not stereo, it's just monaural, but still, these were what every kid wanted back in the early 1980s. Everybody wanted one of these things to take to the beach or take camping. This is from March 1982 was when this one was manufactured. And I used to see these things come in once in a while at the shop for service. People did buy them, people did use them. It was used a lot of campers, a lot of smaller campers would with a van would use something like this because it had everything that you could want when you're camping. You've got AM/FM radio, you could listen to your cassette tapes, you could record around the campfire as you were singing your songs, and you could still check out a game or watch the news on any TV stations that you could pick up. So they were kind of a neat unit. On the side here, it's also got auxiliary inputs and an earphone, and you could plug an external microphone into it as well. Had a built-in battery charger. It could operate off 12 volts, so you could run it off your car battery or off in your camper, and 120 volts. In the bottom, we find there's the AC cord, and there's room for this would have been a gel cell, 12 volt gel cell, as well as 9 D cells. Okay, let's just see first of all whether this thing even works. I haven't turned it on yet, I haven't tried. This one uses a polarized plug. We'll plug that in, and we'll see what this does initially, and then we'll take it apart and work on it. So let's turn on some lights. Get the studio lights going and warming up. They're fluorescent, so they take a minute or two to get to full power. I've got the antenna input here. I can connect that to the side here. It's even got a 75 to 300 ohm matching transformer already attached to it. Okay, first things first, let's see if the radio works first of all. Okay, so that's AM. Volume control needs to be cleaned for starters. So the AM radio is working. Let's try FM. And okay, so the FM radio is working. Got some controls that need to be cleaned. That's expected. We'll see if the tape deck works. Put it into tape position. We'll see if the tape recorder works. So eject. Probably is going to need belts. Yeah. And it's making noise. So we have our work cut out for us. Tape recorder needs to be repaired. I haven't even tried the TV yet. Let's see if the TV works.
Doomed to wander forever. Of interstellar space.
The TV works.
It's almost a certainty that our solar system has lost planets along the way during this sort of celestial...
And if you're wondering why I'm receiving signals, I have an in-house coax analog system. So I'm actually picking this up off of an off-air tuner, and then remodulating it on channel 7. So I've got things like my security cameras and some music playing, music videos playing, and then VHF low. I've got CNN coming off my cable box, or CNN headline news, some more stuff. NHK Japan. This is coming off air as well. So I think we can say that the TV is working. UHF. I have a channel down on UHF too.
On the proto forming in the region of the asteroid belt.
So TV works.
To smash together,
Surprise, surprise.
to a bunch of asteroids.
Let's get the top off this unit and check it out. We'll clean this one up. So say this unit here, I don't know if I'll keep this one or not. I picked up 2 of them. I picked up a color set as well, which we'll be looking at on another video. But I want to get them both working, and I'll decide whether I'm going to hang on to this one or not. It's kind of neat just because these are becoming kind of scarce now because of the age. A lot of people just tossed them away. When analog broadcasting went away, a lot of people just threw these units in the garbage. So let's take the top off. This lid lifts off or not. I think I have to have it open. And I'm pretty sure the top will probably just lift off once I remove all the screws. Screws in the bottom, I'm sure. And this one was made in Korea, so it's probably Samsung or Gold Star. Height and vertical linearity adjustments are here for the TV, and on the side of it there's a vertical hold and what is this other one? Horizontal hold? Yeah, vertical and horizontal hold controls on the side for the television portion. I don't think there's any more screws. That should be, I think the top should lift off now. I might be wrong. I have certainly been wrong before opening up some of these old beasts, which have got screws that are hidden. It kind of looks like this is going to have to lift off separately. Remove the cable. I think the top lifts off on this unit. Oh yeah, here it is. The top does lift off. Just like that. Just like that, and the speaker will unplug more than likely, as will the antenna. So we'll just undo the antenna plug here. I don't think I need to even bother connecting the antenna again to it. It's not like the antenna is going to receive anything. Undo the speaker. Okay, here we have the inner workings. Let's get a closer look. So I got a nice size speaker, which is Matsushita, Panasonic. There's the tape recorder with the mono head. Oh, the belt's not turned to goo, it's just slipping. The as you can see, it's turning. It just doesn't take much so to stop it. So the belt is shot, but at least it hasn't turned to goo, which is good. Orion. It's got an Orion tube in it. So this looks like that it was made by Orion and not Samsung or LG as I first thought. There's a little flyback transformer here. As you can see, they've got the high voltage lead just zap tied down to the yoke. One thing I may do to this unit is I may detune the VHF high band a little so that it can tune down into the mid band, as I have the my clock display, my video clock is on channel, I think it's channel 17 on the cable TV band. So maybe I'll mod this so that I can tune down a little bit lower so that I can pull in the mid band, which is below channel 7, and that way I can get my time display to show up on the tube here. It seems to be what I use, these little black and white tubes. Whenever I come across a little black and white set, I have a digital time display which is synchronized off the internet. It's right there on that little set. I've just been using these old little black and white TVs because they're not really much use for anything, but they're kind of cool just to display the time on. And I've had these ones running for years. Like this one over my bench here, it's never turned off. Like it runs 24/7. I have another one inside the house that just runs 24/7, just displays the time on a CRT. And I can put different types. I have different apps, so I can put a flip clock on there and so forth. So I typically, that's all I use the little black and white tubes for, because they're not really much use for anything else. But, or display like security cameras on them in black and white. That way I get some use out of them. Use them up a bit. And then what I'll do with that little one like that's running the time over my bench, eventually when the CRT is just to the point where there's no emission, well, then I won't feel so guilty about recycling it, because it will have used up all of its life. Let's take the tape deck out. I'm just looking to see how it comes out. There's looks like to be some screws that hold the tape deck in place, and then I should be able to lift the entire transport out to access the belts. I'm just seeing where all the screws are on this. There's looks like it's screwed down to the circuit board. So I should be able to just remove these screws and the entire tape deck should lift up. I think I may have to pull the knobs off the front. It looks like the same circuit board is used for the radio and the tape deck. So, oh, there's a wire that's off of here, wherever that goes. It's a black wire that's just hanging there, doing nothing. Looks like it was probably a ground wire at some point for something. Other things I could do to mod this TV is I could mod it for a video input. That probably wouldn't be that difficult on a set like this. So I might look into doing that as well. Maybe not in this video. This video I may just get the tape deck running, and then we can come back and do another one. Mod the TV for an audio video input. We'll decide at some point if I'm going to do that or not. Today I just want to try and get the radio functional properly and the cassette deck working. Doesn't look like this cassette deck's had many hours on it. A little bit of wear. The head looks to be in pristine shape. I don't see any wear at all on the head. A little bit on the pinch roller, but that might have just been from sitting around for all these years. pull the knobs off the front, and there may be a couple more screws that have to come out to access the radio. I'll show you guys something else, a little preview to something else I've recently acquired, just to get you guys drooling a bit, because I like to tease you guys, right? So I'll show you something else. I'll give you a very, very quick look at something else that I've got working, or got coming up here. I say turn it up. 900 watts, 450 watts per channel. Take a wild guess what I paid for this in the comments, and I'll tell you how far off you are or how close you are. Anyway, that's coming up on a future video. We're going to do a service and check over on this unit. I don't know what the condition is. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it doesn't work. I know nothing about it. But this one's mine. So if I end up doing a complete service, I'll be doing a total service on this. This is not that old though. This amplifier here is only about 24 years old, 25 years old, something like that. So it's not a real old one, but it is a monster as far as power goes. Maybe another couple screws to remove from here. And this whole radio should lift out once I get everything removed, of course. Oh, there's another screw here holding the board in place, it looks like. And this plug is going to come undone. And probably the speaker wires have to be unattached as well. Alright, what's left? What's holding this up now? A ground screw, it looks like, or a screw attaching down to here. Whatever that's holding down here on this fuse holder. Looks like there's a screw down below through here. What that was doing, I have no idea. It's not a ground screw or anything, it's a ground wire, but it's grounding into plastic. That's going to be a good ground. Okay, there we go. There is the chassis. And here's the belt that is worn out, but not turned to goo at this point. And I can access all the controls on here. I'm just going to clip a few of these wire ties just so that I have a little bit more slack on the wires themselves. Got a record play switch here that's going to need to be cleaned. And I guess there's a couple screws. If I remove a couple screws from the bottom here, I can separate the recorder from the rest of it. That way I can get to the belt to change it. Not a lot of room, but should be doable. Looks like 2 screws to hold the circuit board in place, and they should be able to get to take the deck off. So there's a couple of screws here that hold the deck in place, and then 2 screws that hold it down to the board, and then that should allow me to lift the deck off of the rest of the chassis. I don't want to pull the board out because I don't want to disturb the tuning string, the dial string. So basically I want to lift the mechanism for the tape deck off of the circuit board. So I should have about another 3 screws, I think, 4 screws maybe to hold it together. I've got 4 screws. Another one down here, and then 2 more on the back side. It's through here. There we go. Okay. Now the tape recorder is separate. I can lift it up and it's kind of attached with wires, so it's I got there are regulators and stuff in here that are still attached, so I'm trying not to detach anything. I just want to get this out enough so that I can slip the belt off and get a new belt. So there's the belt off of there. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. The belt is entrapped under a wire. Interesting. So I gotta pull more stuff apart. I have to disconnect this wire wherever this wire goes. I have to disconnect it from a switch. I'm gonna pull that regulator out of here for now. It's just got a plastic screw that holds this regulator transistor in place. Then I can certainly flip the board, or flip the chassis up a bit more. There'll be an insulator on this as well, because that's why they've got the plastic screw, so that the collector doesn't short out. Now I can lift this mechanism up a bit more. Oh, there's still wires attached on this thing. Jeez. The motor and the switch. See what I mean about a belt that's strapped? Hey, wait a second. They had a plastic screw on this transistor, but no insulator. What the heck? No insulator came off there. But yet they had a plastic screw going through it. What was the purpose of that? Like, completely useless. What's the point in having a plastic screw on here when there was no insulator? The transistor was just attached straight down. This is the switch that's trapping. I don't think it plugs into anything. It's hardwired. So I got to disconnect that switch or remove it, one of the two. This is the record selector. Remove the screw. that switch out of the way. Now I just got to get the belt out. This won't be too difficult to take out the belt. All I'll have to do is just loosen off this screw for this bracket, so the bracket can move down a bit, slip it down a bit, so I can get the belt out of here. Probably just there we go. So there's the belt I need to grab. I'm going to go and find a new belt, or one that's a little smaller than that. I'm sure I've got one. It's not gone gooey either. It just lost its grip over the years. Another belt here, a little bit smaller than the original. It should be okay for something like this. So I'll just throw this other belt over here. Get the new belt in place. It's got to go around another pulley on the other side here. There we go. That should hold it, and now I just have to put this switch back in. And it's kind of silly the way they had this, the way they had it mounted, where it was trapping the belt. Okay, so there's the switch back in place. Now get the board back in and attach the chassis to the board. Have to line up the switch, the little metal plate here that goes through the hole in the bottom of the board here to activate the record play switch. When I get that lined up, that should have the chassis just in about the right place to screw it back in. Just like that. There must have been a capacitor shortage when they made this unit. Check this one out. Instead of putting the PC mount, they put an axial mount and just stuck a wire on it. So maybe they ran out of PC mount caps at the factory when they were building this unit, so they just used whatever they had lying around, which doesn't surprise me. Okay, got some more screws to hold the deck in place. Look at this thing. Maybe someone did this, or is this the way they manufactured this thing? Check this out. Just a transistor that's stuck on here, soldered down, and just sitting out there in the breeze. That's how it was. So let's get some cleaner into these switches and controls. Got some neutral here. We'll just give it a shot into the record play switch right here. Give it a shot into the back of the switch. More cleaner down into the function switch here, and this other switch at the back here. A bit cleaner into these two slider controls. And no, I'm not putting any more heatsink compound on. I don't know where that wire goes. It's not really going anywhere. They've got little cutaways on the board here. If you can see them or not, but there's little cutaways on the board where there are plastic supports, and they've got little cutaways in the back of the board just so that it will just You can see it down there or not. Right down here, there are little cutaways on the board. It has to fit right around here, so there can't be anything between the board and that standoff, or it won't go down. This is a really tight fit when they put this thing together. Of course, we have to get the controls at the right height, so that the controls will drop in like that at the front. Now that that's in place, the unit drops down. I can put the mounting screws in to hold it in place. And of course, it was this useless screw holding down this fuse holder, or fuse circuit board, with this ground below it. Like, what is with that? I have no idea why they had attached this wire down to here like they did. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's not needed. All it's going to do is short out against the fuse if it's not tight. So why even have this wire? It wasn't going anywhere. Like, if they had put it down to something that was grounded, I could understand that, but this wire just went nowhere. So unless it was supposed to go over to the TV chassis, which is more than likely where it originally went to, more than likely went over here, and somebody's taken it off and stuck it over there, because where it was sitting, it wasn't grounding up against anything. It was just mounted to plastic. So let's put it over to ground the tuner, which is more than likely where it originally went. I think somebody worked on this thing before. Okay, we've got the TV plug. Looks like the same thing's been done over here on a capacitor. Someone's replaced a cap in it, or they put the wrong one in at the factory. It's always a possibility. The manufacturing in Korea back in the early 1980s wasn't what Korean stuff is today, which is, the stuff today is considered to be some of the best that you're going to get. But back in the early 1980s, stuff made in Korea was kind of like the stuff made in China in the early 2000s. The stuff made in China today is actually pretty good too, but it was pretty bad there initially. Okay, got this thing back together. Let's put the knobs on it, and then we'll test it out, see if I fixed it. All the knobs for the volume and tone control. FM and AM. It doesn't line up. Close enough. And the tuning dial. Alright, let's power this thing up. See whether I've made any improvement. Then we'll see if I can get the thing to tune down below channel 7. In other words, can I get it to tune down to mid-band, to pull in the mid-band cable channel, so I can get the time display to work on here. And get the time display to work, I'll be happy. Okay, what do we got to do now? Radio. Oh, gotta hook up the speaker. Oh, radio.
What are they?
That control is still not very good, is it? Good thing we can get in here with the cleaner and give it another shot. That's the problem with these old controls like this, these old slide controls. They tend to get dirty. Yeah, that's a little better.
To full circle for linking.
Not the right speaker on here, by the way.
They're actually in charge of curating indigenous artists for.
Okay, FM works.
Call Ashton.com.
AM works. Okay, go to tape. That switch is still not working right. What happened? It went dead. Did I pop a fuse by chance? Let's just see here. There's a couple of fuses in here. There's one fuse in the back here. Let's just check this fuse first. See if there's any voltage across the fuse. Oh, it's 17 volts across the fuse. I would say that the fuse is blown. But why? Yeah, that fuse is cooked. Why did the fuse blow? What size is this fuse, first of all? Oh, come on. It is a 1 amp fuse, looks like. No. It's 6/10 of an amp. No, 1.6. 1 6/10 of an amp. Okay, let me go find another fuse. Alright, found a new fuse. Let's try the tape recorder out. Fast forward. Oh, what the heck's going on? My belt come off, or what's going on? Or is the motor not turning? Let's just see here. Motor. Motor's not turning. Now what's wrong? Go investigate why the motor's not turning. Is something sticking it, or is it just? No, it's not stuck. All right, what's wrong with this time? Let's just see if the motor's getting power. So the motor picks up its power right down here. Power is on. Motor's not getting any power. What the heck? Why not? Must be a wire that's come off somewhere. So the motor's not turning because it's not getting power. This is the positive lead for the motor down here. The motor is not getting power. You can hear the amplifier fire up. And if I bring my hand near the head, you know, the amplifier is working. but it's not turning on the motor. So I guess I have to pull the chassis again and take a look underneath it and see if a wire came off or something. Something obviously happened while it was out, because the motor was working prior to pulling the deck out in the first place. The motor was turning. The reason the fuse blew is I think this ground wire, I grounded it over here. I don't think it was supposed to go over there. But anyway, I've just taken that ground wire off just in case that's what blew the fuse. So I got to pull the 4 screws out again, or 6 screws out, to once again remove the chassis and take a look under this ugly circuit board. See if we can see why the motor's not turning on now. That wire's kind of trapped out of the way anyway, isn't it? It's supposed to be around here. Needless to say, even back in 1982, if something like this had come into the shop that I worked at, they probably would have been discouraged from spending any money on it back then. But and I'm sure some people would have wanted to fix it, but as I say, they would have been discouraged from spending money, even way back at that time. This should lift out now. Oh, one more screw. It should lift out, and then we'll take a look and see why the motor's not getting power. Something's either come apart, either a plug's come undone, or a wire's broken. Maybe it's even the circuit board, who knows. But anyway, it's right down in this area here where the motor is connected. This is the motor right here. This resistor is on the motor line. Where the heck does this go? Okay, it goes. There's a wire that comes off here, and that goes up to the remote switch, and it also comes back down. Comes back down to the board here. I'm wondering if there's a break in the trace here somewhere. I'm just looking at the way that the unit is wired. This wire here, this white wire, goes across here. And it's connected down here to the remote for the microphone. So I should see 12 volts on this line here with respect to ground that goes to the remote switch and comes back here, which applies power down through this resistor to the motor. And what is this connected to? Is this connected to this transistor that's kind of just floating around here free? Looks like it is. I wonder if there's a connection that's broken here. Let's just get a close look. Something right in here, I think, is where the problem is going to be. It's kind of a mess. So we should have 12 volts here, 12 volts here, and wherever this is fed from. Let's see if I can power it up with the unit sitting up like this, just so I can make some measurements. Hopefully nothing's going to short out. Blow my fuse again, as I don't have another fuse of that size. Oh, now it works. What the hell? Okay, that is weird. When it was in the case, it wouldn't work, and now it does. Will it play music? Okay. Something must have been touching something under here, or on the chassis. That's weird. Something must have been touching and shorting out when it was put together. Okay, well, we'll put it together again, and this time try not to short anything out. Take a look right here on this transistor. This leg is broken. Can you see it right there? The lead to this transistor is broken. Got to solder it back on. That's where the problem is, right there. Beauty, huh? Yeah, my work looks as good as anybody else's on here, including the factory. These were such a mess even when they were brand new. I'm surprised they even worked. Now it's got power. Excellent. Okay, let's try putting this thing together one last time to see if it'll work. I will look at that little color, that little candle, made in Japan color TV next, and we'll see the world of difference. I just want to measure this ground and see whether it is ground or not. Whether is that why my fuse blew? That's what I'm wondering. Well, it wouldn't be because that is grounded, so I guess I can put that screw onto here. Wonder why the fuse blew. I guess we'll never know, but it did. Unless that transistor was shorting out. That's a possibility. That transistor that had gone open may have been touching something. Yeah, probably that. Let's say that that's what it was. Whether it was or not, who knows? But let's just say that that's what it was. Seems like a likely scenario, doesn't it? Okay. See if I can remember which knobs go where. AM, FM. That's the tuning knob. And this one was in the tape position. Radio off, it says so.
Your social media though.
It's a stupid switch.
Because we can't forget that.
The stupid switch is still dirty.
And these networks starting to mature.
Yeah, that's all it is a stupid switch. All right, let's check out this tape one more time. Is it gonna work? Speed might be a little bit off. We can certainly adjust that. There is a speed control on here, right in under that sticker. So let's just check the speed. Speed's a little low. Where is it? Oh, maybe there's no speed control on this. You know what? I think this one's this one's mechanically governed. That's the actual spindle of the motor. Okay, so it's a little bit flat, but yeah, there's no speed adjustment on this. At least not here, unless there's a speed adjustment on the board. Anyway, for all practical purposes, there's no speed adjustment on this one. If there is, who cares? It's close enough. It's a mono tape recorder. It's not a hi-fi. It's not a hi-fi tape deck, so it's close enough. There's lots of things that can affect the speed on this. Let's try the
1987 may be eligible for compensation. Don't apply now.
Your personal information gets exposed so often, might as well be hanging in a museum. Everyday activities like online shopping, banking, and even data breaches may expose your information and make it dangerously easy to have.
That TV's not bad. So there's a horizontal hold. That's a vertical hold control. There's a horizontal hold control on here, which is just adjusting that horizontal oscillator coil.
So if something happens, you have somebody fighting for you.
All backed by LifeLock's $1 million.
fair bit of overscan, but that is to be expected on something like this. There are trimmers. This is channel 9 and it's actually showing as channel 8. So we just move this up to channel 9. I'm going to adjust the high band trimmer to get the dial centered. This trimmer will adjust it. I guess I'll try a different one. If I center it, I'll probably be able to. There we go. Now it's showing channel 9. Now,
Fundamental particle.
yeah, now 7 is correct. But if I tune that down a bit, I can bring the time in at the bottom of the band. The horizontal's off a bit. There we go. Now I can tune it all the way down.
Holes being formed.
My channels are a little bit off now. I gotta tune this in just to try the high end to get the high end of the band correct as well. So by adjusting the VH low and the VH high settings, I'm only tweaking the actual VHF setting. So this is channel 12 and I've got it so that channel 12 is displaying on 12. Now my other two channels that I have are 9 and 7. It's going to be a little bit off. It's actually showing 10 and 8 for the other modulated channels, but they're actually showing 10 and about 9 for the other modulated channels instead of showing 9 and 7. And the reason for that is I've tuned the low end so that when I go down below channel 7, I can tune this down and get the time display off of my channel 17 midband modulator. So I've intentionally tuned it down just so that if I turn this TV on, I can use it as a clock display basically. And if I wanted to get creative, I could put some music on the subcarrier of that channel and have time display with music like I have on some of the low band channels. My low band is there's channel 2, that's right on channel 2. 4 is correct, and 5 is correct, so that's right on for those ones. The UHF, the only thing that's on UHF is channel 20, I think it's 25, and there it is, that's working. So okay, the TV is working as good as it's going to look. I think it looks fine. On the back here there's a contrast and a brightness control. No, it's on the side here. So if I got to clean that control. That control's dirty too. Let's clean the brightness and contrast. I think my cleaner's getting really empty. I think that's it. I think this can is just about done. This can's been on its last legs for a while. I've had this can for probably 20 years at least. I've got 2 of them. Got another one that's got a fair bit left in it of the old stock Neutral, which was my favorite of them all because it was a really good cleaner. There we go. Oops, vertical hold. That control probably needs cleaning too. The horizontal hold won't because it's a coil. But there it is, it's working. Story TV, one of my favorite channels. It's an off-air broadcast channel, and they have some pretty cool, pretty cool programs.
Collects the star in the first place.
Anyway, working. Let me get the top on it. I will reconnect the antenna, even though it's kind of useless. I will reconnect it just so that it's connected and the wire's not just floating around in here. Couple screws back into the top. The wire is in the way. Get that underneath there. Has one metal screw, and the rest of them are all plastic screws into the base and the side of it. Okay, that about does it for this one. This one's all back together, and just plug it in after I get the top on here just to make sure that everything is still functional, which I'm sure it will be at this point. Yeah, it's working. There you go. 1982, 40 years old, TMK, TV, radio, cassette recorder. It's back up and running. Everything's working on it now. Probably as good as it ever did. We'll get a look at the color one next, the candle, and then we'll take a look at that big crest 900 watt amplifier. As I say, I don't know that there's anything wrong with it. I bought it unknown, unseen, untested. So it may be blown up, it may be good. But before I get to it, get your guesses in as to how much I picked that one up for. And I'll tell you if you're even in the ballpark. Thanks for watching.